All right. I believe we are live. Might just take a second here for the stream to pop up. We'll give it a few seconds before I start my whole intro spiel. Says we got 3 viewers, so we must be live.
Well, we're up to 6 now.
All right. Then I'm going to take that as an indication that we are live. What's going on, everybody? Week 2 here. It's just me and Luke for now. Zach's going to jump in eventually. What the heck? Why isn't it streaming to Twitter? Bear with me here for just a moment. I'm going to open up the YouTube chat so we can monitor, because it is week 2 of the evening flurry. And there it is. We are live on YouTube. Not quite sure why we're not connected on the Twitter, but we are live on the YouTube. So as I said, this is week 2 of the evening flurry. Come hang out with us. It's just me and Luke right now, but Zach's going to be joining us in, I don't know, a few moments, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not quite sure. He's got a lot of stuff going on, I think, NBA wise right now. Speaking of basketball, you said you were watching some games. What were you watching earlier?
Yeah. Right now, I'm actually in my living room right now. It's a different backdrop for people who usually watch me. I got the NBA game on. We got Brooklyn, Golden State going. Lucky for me, I got 3 TVs in my living room. So another one, we got Wisconsin, Nebraska, and another one, North Carolina State.
I've got a bet on 2 of those 3 games. I've got the over in the Wisconsin game, and then I took the Warriors plus 7.5.
Okay, tell me why you took the over, because I was really looking at that game. What'd you get it at, 142.5?
I actually got it at 142 even, and then I looked. Well, that's the pick that I put out there because that's what they had it on DraftKings. But then I went to the bookie that I use, and he actually had it at 141. So my actual bet is locked in at 141.
Okay, because I looked at it this morning. I think I saw it at 142.5. And I'm like, this feels way too high for a Wisconsin game. Am I missing something here? Is Nebraska? I don't know much about Nebraska. But I'm like, are they good scores? And so I didn't even put a bet on it because I was very confused by it.
Well, for me, and I've made this publicly known too, college basketball, I've been dabbling in it, but I've not really been paying attention. I'm still kind of football centric. So I've been taking stabs at college basketball. But yesterday I took Gonzaga in the first half. And they were only up by 13 or 18 or something at half, and they needed to cover 23. And then they ended up winning the game by 45 points. So I'm like, okay, well, I should have taken the full game spread there. So I ran it back and I took the full game spread today because Gonzaga is playing the same team on back-to-back nights. So I don't know. I figured, why not? They're probably going to pound them again. But Wisconsin, I've been missing out. They've been covering like crazy, and I've just been missing out. So I thought I would throw a bet on them. The spread was pretty large. But I looked, and Nebraska had scored a pretty decent amount of points in a few of their games this year, so I thought maybe just throw some money at the over. Not a huge bet. My official card, because I sell my picks on Pick City, my college basketball plays were in the optional category today because I just don't feel confident enough in my college basketball plays yet to be telling other people to put money on my picks. The further we get into the season, the more I start to pay attention to it. I'll become a little bit more confident. What's the score right now?
The TV actually just shut off right when you're talking. I don't know why, but I'll take a look for you. 34-33 Wisconsin, second half. So that over is not looking well.
No, it is not.
Because I was talking to a guy at work today who was a big college basketball guy, and I said, "Am I missing something? Why is this Wisconsin 142?"
Yeah, they're halfway there with only 12:40 left in the second. Not great, not promising. So, probably going to lose. Again, that's why I put it out there as an optional bet. But that's kind of what you got to do sometimes when you're feeling out a sport, when you're just starting to, bet something for the season.
Right.
You start, with small bets, kind of feel things out. Like college football for me this year, there was a group of maybe 10 or 12 college football teams that I just loved betting on. And every other team was more of a risk for me because I wasn't quite as in tune with them. So I stuck with a lot of those teams, and I'll probably go that same strategy with
if it's making money
here.
Might as well keep with it,
Yeah, well, I mean, football's been great for me all season.
Yeah.
And I got another thing to bring up by the way. I want to talk about your survivor picks, but just want to throw it out there. I didn't really finish the intro. This is the evening flurry. I see we're losing live viewers. That's okay. Where I'm happy to have anybody that wants to stick around or anybody that wants to check in with us. We appreciate it. But again, this is the evening flurry, and the whole point of this show is to sit around, talk with your friends, just like if we're in the bar, or just like if we're in a bar, just like if we struck up a conversation on the train, like anything. Conversation could be about anything. It could go anywhere. It does not have to be sports centric. And I actually would prefer, for the most part, that we're not sports centric because we do talk so many sports on these airwaves. So I encourage you to hang out with us. It's been Tuesdays so far, but it probably will not continue to be only Tuesday. We'll probably move it around. It'll be at different times, but grab a drink, throw a dip in. That's probably what I'm going to do. I got some, we're drinking the White Claw tonight. I like it. I still got a bunch to do tonight, so I'm going to probably pass on the beer right now, but that's why I brought my trusty Copenhagen. But whatever you like to do to relax, come hang out with us. Sometimes it's going to be just the 2 or 3 of us. Sometimes it'll be 5 or 6 of us like it was last week. So it's going to be kind of a free-flowing type thing. Hit us up in the comments, tweet at us if there's something you want to talk about or you want to chime in on a conversation that we're having. Please do so. Luke has been fantastic this year in survivor pools. I believe you won the first one we had, right? The first Flurry survivor pool?
No, I should have. I forgot to hit submit on the last week, and Hunter ended up taking it from me.
That dirty dog. But you have been 15-0 in your published articles for Flurry Sports. I mean, 15-0 is going to win pretty much. I mean, I'd say 90% of survivor leagues out there. 15-0 is going to take it. That is extremely impressive. Without giving away maybe too much, I mean, you probably don't want to put your whole strategy out there, but how you do it, how you going 15-0, what do you look for?
To start the it gets a lot easier once you get to the middle weeks because you kind of can feel out what teams are good, what teams are bad. To start the year, I kind of just start the year, you kind of just look at the best matchups. So I think I took the Bills were playing the Jets week 1 or something. 49ers had a great matchup. So I got those 2 teams out of the way. And it's nice, early to get a couple teams you don't feel very comfortable with out of the way. And that's how I felt about the Bills and 49ers. And that worked out for me. And then the middle weeks, I was able to knock out the Chiefs, Packers, Ravens, Saints, all the better teams. And now I'm kind of struggling. I was my pick last week was Arizona over who they play over the Eagles.
Eagles, yep.
And I was really sweating that one out till the end there. And
they even ended up covering. I didn't think there was any point after the Eagles rattled off 20 points in the second quarter. I was like, well, there's no way that the Cardinals are going to win this game by more than 2, maybe 3 points. And they ended up covering the 6.5. It was quite the game to watch. I said on our Monday night stream, it was just me and Tanner. I was like, that game had a very college feel to it. Obviously, two young quarterbacks, but dual threat quarterbacks, 100 yards between those guys on the ground, 700 and something yards through the air, 6 passing touchdowns. That's a college game right there.
Right. And, I saw the Cardinals come out to that 16-0 start. I'm like, all right, this is locked in. This is not going anywhere. And then Jalen Hurts explodes for 3 touchdowns in the second quarter. I'm like, oh, shit, is this going to lose? Is this going to be my first loss of the year? And lucky enough for me, the Arizona defense stepped up and, the last couple drives there was able to stop them. But other than that, I'm kind of running low on teams here right now. I got the Buccaneers left. I don't know how comfortable I feel with them. I think they play Detroit this week, so that might be a good one. Other than that, week 17 is gonna be real tough if I'm able to make it there. I'll throw one out if I lose this week for week 17, but it's gonna be tough if I'm 16-0. The one that's coming to mind. Yeah, the one that's coming to mind right away is I know Packers play Chicago. If the Packers have that 1 seed locked up this week, then that might be a big one for me with Chicago still left. But I mean, it's just getting tough. I only have 15 32 minus 50, 17 teams left, and I'm not picking Jets, Jaguars, Bengals, none of that. So it'll be really interesting these last couple of weeks here, and hopefully maybe I can talk to Zach. We can get something going for playoffs too. Get a survivor pool or a pick 'em pool going.
Yeah, I think we should, because people are always looking for something to do after, they can't scratch that fantasy football itch anymore. Right. Especially if they had kind of a lame season, they're looking for something to do in the playoffs. I'm always involved with a format. My buddy Caleb got me into it a few years ago, but it's basically you draft, I think, 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 defenses, and 2 kickers, I believe. And it's you can only start one of them per week, like a regular fantasy lineup, or one quarterback, two running backs, like a regular fantasy lineup. But as soon as their team loses, then obviously you can't start them anymore. So you have to plan, like, who do I want in week 1, and then who am I saving, like, from the bye teams, and, like, because your whole strategy is trying to survive and have at least close to a starting lineup when you get to the Super Bowl, or as many guys left as you can. So that is always a really, really fun format. I won it the first year, which was like 4 years ago, and I've been absolute dog shit since then. Like the next 3 years, yeah. Remember when the Lions had White Lightning, they called him? I think his name was like Zach Zenner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the year that I won, and I actually had him, and I just. That's fun. I like doing that. So we definitely got to talk to Zach, get something going Flurry wise, and we'll put it out there to the Twitter sphere as we always do. Try and get something huge going.
Right. I'll let you know too. Here I am, me being a big North Carolina game. They're in a tight game, or big North Carolina fan. They're in a tight game. You're going to be getting my live reactions this whole game, and it's kind of interesting how this game's going. But
who's North Carolina playing right now?
North Carolina State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
a little in-state rivalry. Yeah. Man, my basketball picks are blowing right now. BYU is, speaking of blowing, they're blowing out UCF 28-7 in the second quarter. I luckily have them parlayed with the Lakers tonight, both money lines. So hopefully that makes up for my Golden State Warriors plus 7.5 bet, because the Warriors are losing by 28 points right now. Yeah. I don't know. I thought the Warriors, I thought Curry was going to be back. The Nets have never played together in this form. Obviously, they did a little bit in the preseason, but I don't know. I thought the Warriors could come in and put together at least a decent game. 7.5 sounded like plenty of points to me, but they are getting walloped.
Yeah, I rarely bet like spreads or money line for NBA. Usually, I do just like prop bets and stuff. But that 7.5 sounds good. Like if I was betting that, I probably would have bet that too.
Yeah, opening night, like I said, I thought Steph Curry, I thought they'd bring a little energy, start the season off on the right foot after being so bad last year. But BYU Lakers, that's the only thing I can hold on to tonight, because my other bet's not looking good.
A lot of West Coast action for you.
Yeah, definitely. That Kansas West Virginia game is in a half an hour. Maybe I was thinking about betting Kansas earlier, because I've watched Kansas. I like them so far this year. West Virginia has been feisty too, though. Both 7-1. I don't know.
A good game.
I probably shouldn't chase. I mean, basketball has not been my sport the last couple of days. I probably shouldn't chase. I'll just take my loss and move on. Try and pick a better game tomorrow. I do have money on Gonzaga, though, like I mentioned off the top, and that game doesn't start for another half an hour either. So I don't know.
You think that'd be free money too?
You would think so, but I don't know. Maybe they killed them last night, so maybe they just don't care as much tonight, and it's a spot where you should have faded Gonzaga. I don't know. We're learning as we go, but that Lakers and BYU money line parlay was plus 141. So if I hit that tonight, I'm happy. I should still be in the green.
That'll make you a solid night.
Yeah, for sure. And I had my second best football weekend betting this last weekend. So Monday was bad. I lost every bet on the card. I put 5 plays out there. They were all Steelers based. They all lost. So, but luckily, like I said, Sunday was massive for me. Sunday was huge. I hit a couple 6-team parlays. I hit a 7-team parlay. I was the Patriots game away from hitting an 8-team parlay, which would have been plus 1360.
Damn.
But I hit a plus 700, a plus 640, a couple plus 300s. So it was a good day.
Yeah, nice. Just going back to the survivor pool, I saw that I was looked at it like right before the game started, and I saw that I was the only one who didn't have the Rams. It was me and 2 other guys. The other 2 guys had the Rams over the Jets, and I had Baltimore over the Jags. I think they played. So I saw that. I'm like, well, fuck, I might as well just put a little bit of money on Jets plus 17.5 here. And that worked out for me as well, too. So that was a nice night for me.
That definitely a nice night. So did you officially win the second chance survivor pool then?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's another like $50 in your pocket or something like that.
No, we had like, we had 20 something people in it. I ended up coming out with $110.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that many. I think I lost the second chance pool like 3 weeks in on something stupid. I think it was like a Sunday night game that a massive favorite lost, pretty much like the Rams situation. But I also saw DraftKings account tweeted out some guy parlayed the Bengals and the Jets.
No way.
$10 won 800.
Jesus.
Yeah. So,
what a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one where you're kicking yourself. Like, well, you would never put $100 on that parlay anyways, but like,
right.
Imagine if you did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
The Warriors have not scored a single point the entire time we've been talking. They're still at 49. It's bad. That's really bad. Yeah. Well, obviously the Nets are for real. Like, right off the bat, you can respect the Nets.
I think so. I was just talking with my buddies. I think the Nets are the team to beat in the league this year. I still think Kevin Durant's the best player in the NBA. And he has that friendship with Kyrie Irving too. And like the Nets, top 10 guys can all start somewhere. So they have just so much depth. It'll just all be about if they can like work together with Steve Nash, D'Antoni, Stoudemire, all of them. But I don't think coaching is going to be the issue. It'll be injuries. But if they're relatively healthy throughout the year, I think they're the team to beat in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'd have to be inclined to agree. Outside of the Lakers roster is insanely deep too, and the Lakers are led by guys that have done it before, guys that have proven it, and obviously they have LeBron James. So it's like the Lakers and the Nets probably right now, until something happens, until some other team steps up. I mean, the Bucks are going to be good, the Bucks are going to be competitive, but like I just can't put them on the same level right now until they go out there and they show me that they can be at least as good and as consistent as they were last year. Right.
And the thing is too, like Giannis needs like another star to play with him. And I don't know if Middleton's good enough to be that second star. And I don't know how much, help Drew Holiday is. Like obviously he's an upgrade over Eric Bledsoe, but I don't think he's a huge upgrade or anything over him. I think if you like the player that the Bucks need is like a combination of Middleton and Holiday, which
the Bogdanovich ship has obviously already sailed, but like he would have been amazing to have another big body out there who can block, who can defend, defend the three, but also in the paint and just knock down threes like crazy. Like he was the exact player that the Bucks needed. And I just found out late yesterday that the Bucks got fined a second-round pick in 2022 because of tampering or whatever, and which is such BS. All teams in the NBA tamper, and teams have done it way, way, way worse. It's BS. Like we gave up so much, or the Bucks gave up so much to bring in Drew Holiday because they thought that the Bogdan, sign and trade was a done deal. So then I don't think you give up that much for Drew Holiday if you know you're not going to get Bogdanovich, because now you have nothing to play with. You have no assets to trade away to anybody else to try and get another person. So we added Holiday, we kept DiVincenzo.
The way I understand it too is that they got the Bucks for tampering because Woj tweeted out the transaction before the Kings had signed it. But then I read into it and it said the only reason it's a second round pick, like they could have went more, but the Bucks were like complying with the investigation, and they had a lack of evidence. So I don't know how you can take away a pick for, first of all, Woj screwing it up for us, and that they have lack of evidence that we did anything wrong. So in my mind, they're just taking, instead of 60 picks this year, it's 59 picks now. And that's just hurting, a college player who's trying to make the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. And especially a second round pick, a high number of those guys don't end up panning out anywhere. They go on two-way contracts. So like you said, now there's just going to be another guy who ends up as an unsigned free agent. So, right. Or undrafted free agent, excuse me. It's just, I don't know. I think it's BS all around, especially Woj. It's not like he can just be like, oh, my bad, NBA, like, don't punish them. But, like, it should not be the fault of the Bucks. Like, if they're doing things behind closed doors and whatever, you might call it, like, suspicious, or you might say, oh, you're still breaking the rules, whatever. But they're not, like, out there publicly tampering and, like, talking about contracts like so many other players and NBA teams do. Like, if Woj just doesn't tweet that out, then I think it's not – I don't think – Bucks fans would care as much, and it wouldn't have hurt so much that Bogdanovich wasn't coming, because we wouldn't have even known that he was coming, and then they probably wouldn't have been punished. So Woj kind of dropped the ball on that one.
Right.
I got nothing against Woj, but it's like, I don't know, maybe don't tweet things out until they're official.
Yeah, it costs us a pick, man.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Like that's not just your reputation. Like, oh, you were wrong, and people are gonna light you up on Twitter for it. Like you cost a high-level NBA team who already traded away a ton of assets to try and get that deal done, you cost them another pick.
Right.
So the Bucks are going to have like no picks in the coming years at all.
Right. Yeah. That'll be tough. But it's a long NBA season. Just going back to the Bucks here. I don't know. I'm really interested to see how the season starts compared to how it ended last year. Obviously, Bucks at the protest got honestly absolutely crushed by Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then and then it played absolute horrible in the preseason. So I think that me being a big Bucks fan, I don't want to say it, but I think that Mike Budenholzer might need to start coaching a little better. Bucks need to start doing well, at least make the finals this year. Budenholzer wants to not stay off the hot seat a little bit here.
Yeah, people are already kind of clamoring for they didn't like how Bud used Giannis and a couple decisions that he made and this and that. It's like you have another disappointing year, especially after Giannis signs a supermax and all this, everything that's happened in the offseason. It's like you're not going to keep the coach over the $45 million a year player. So it's like I'm not going to say he's coaching for his job right now. Like definitely not. But if things go wrong and then we get deep into the season, those conversations could definitely start happening.
Right. Yeah. It'd be really interesting to see how this year goes. We were talking to Zach too when we were on the me, Zach, and Trevor were on we did live stream during a draft. It's just really weird to see all these different players at different areas right now. I have no idea that these players ended up there. The one that comes to mind is I didn't even know Al Horford was at Oklahoma City until we did our fantasy draft. That's just been kind of weird off season.
Yeah, just random names at random places. When we were doing our fantasy draft, I was doing play-by-play for hockey, like my actual real job. And so I basically made my first 2 or 3 picks, and then it was pretty much auto for the rest of the night. So I didn't even really get to dive into it. And then Trevor right away wanted to trade me because I wanted Luka because I had the second pick, but he took Luka, and I assumed he was going to take Giannis because his team name is the Antetokounmpo Bros. And then he didn't take Giannis, so I was like, okay. So then he wanted to trade me right away, and I was like, you know what? I haven't had a chance to look through anything. I haven't had a chance to evaluate, look at numbers, look at projections, everything like that. So I was like, I can't make that trade right now.
Right.
So I ended up taking Giannis second. I don't know. I like Luka, but Giannis he's been a machine. And I think that Giannis is one of those guys where you see it so often, especially in the NFL, where it's guys try so hard, and then when they get paid, whether they try to or not, they just take a step back. Their game kind of just they're just not as dominant as they once were. I think Giannis could be that rare case where he actually goes the other way. The money inspires him even more. It makes him feel like people are, hating him or doubting on him even more. And Giannis completely thrives off that. He always has. So I think he's one of those guys where this big contract could actually motivate him even more. And the fact that they got destroyed in the bubble and everything that happened last year, and actually they didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost in the second round. Miami beat Boston in an impressive showing too against Boston. So the Bucks have a lot to prove. Giannis has a lot to prove, and I don't think he's going to just sit back and be comfortable with all this money. He wants to be the best. And you can say that about a lot of guys, but with Giannis, I really do believe it's true.
Yeah. Maybe that's just a Bucks fan in me talking, but yeah, I totally agree with you. The funniest thing that I saw when we did that draft is immediately after the draft, you sent in our group chat, my team sucks in capital SUCKS. That was so funny.
Dude, it does. Literally, I have 5 centers on my team.
Right.
I don't know how it happened. And then I think the only 2 guys that were left in my Q or K, whatever it is, I think it's Q, were centers. They were the center for the Myers Leonard and then Dwight Howard, I think.
Yeah.
So my last 2 auto picks were more centers when I already had 3 of them. So I was like, son of a bitch. And then I way overdrafted LaMelo Ball. I think I took him with my 5th pick.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Luckily, it's not for a ton of money. And fantasy basketball is a lot to keep up with anyways. Fantasy basketball, fantasy hockey. I usually just end up setting my lineups a week out. And then if there's a big name that I know is going to be missing some games, then I'll replace them. But I usually don't check every day. I just can't bring myself to. life's too busy, you know?
Right. That's what's so interesting too about the NBA or NHL compared to, or even MLB compared to NFL. Like those three are like daily leagues, daily sports. Like NFL, you only have to worry about, you only have to set your lineup like once a week, and barring injury, whatever. That's what like makes a strategy so different with fantasy, everything else compared to fantasy football.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just so like you can do it way more leisurely. Like you check one time on Wednesday or Thursday to get your Thursday game, and then you set your weekend lineup. That's all you got to do. I know a lot of people don't even get that deep into like waivers and stuff. Basketball, I feel like you got to make a lot more transactions. There's a lot more injuries. There's a lot of guys that just miss random games or they're healthy scratches. A lot of waiver wire action constantly throughout the week. And then, specific matchups too, where it's like you can't just really set your lineup and go. Like you're going to miss out on a lot of points because different guys match up better against different teams or like, whatever. Like it's common fantasy stuff, but it's just so much different than fantasy football. Like it really is. And my first year playing fantasy basketball, I've been playing fantasy hockey for a long time, but my first year playing fantasy basketball was last year and we didn't even get to finish the season. And I was actually doing well. Right. I was like 10-7 or something like that because I think they go in 2-week increments.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing okay. I was projected to make the playoffs, things like that, and then obviously COVID and everything happened. And so I right now have never finished a fantasy basketball season, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting too how we set it up in our league. How you can only pick up 6 guys a week, and how like instead of like certain players like getting a total amount of points, that your team, whoever has the better team, like points scored, they win that category. Whoever is better turnovers, they win that category. That's a really interesting way to play. And I was talking to Zach about it, and it does seem like one of the best ways to play fantasy basketball. Yeah,
instead of just straight up like per player fantasy scoring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of like the vampire setup for our draft. Like just do things a little differently, and try and have some fun with it. But
yeah. You got any big plans for Christmas?
I don't really. I already did my girlfriend's family Christmas in Minneapolis the other day, and I'm going to Milwaukee with her Christmas Eve, and then we'll just go to my grandma's on Christmas morning, but that's about it.
Nice.
Not to be like a Debbie Downer on the stream or anything, but my grandma on my mom's side, we just lost her like right after Thanksgiving, so we're not really even doing anything on that side because like we had spent so much time. She was always like the center of the family. Everything happened at her house. So like we spent so much time there in the last couple of weeks of her life. And everybody's just like so busy that we're just not really doing anything for Christmas on that side of the family. So basically just going to my dad's side for like brunch and presents. And then I'm not even doing my family Christmas until New Year's weekend. We're going to go up to our cabin and hang out. So I'm more looking forward to that. But my brother and I had plans. Like we wanted to go ski. There's this place called Pine Mountain, like right in Iron Mountain, Michigan, and it's only $30-something for the whole day. They got a nice little park set up, but there's no snow, so we're not going to be able to do that. So I don't know. What about you? What are you doing?
Yeah, so right now I'm in La Crosse. I'm heading back to Green Bay tomorrow. That's where I'm from. My parents live there. And just kind of hanging out. I haven't seen them in a while, so it'd be nice to get to see them. We're actually I'm going to the Packer game on Sunday, so that'll be fun to do.
I was just about to say, how'd you score tickets? But if those of you who were with us last week, you remember Luke's dad and grandpa both have season tickets, so he's a lucky dog.
Right. Yeah. And then heading back to La Crosse on Monday. So I'll be home for at least 5-6 days. Go to Packer game will be fun.
You work in La Crosse or you just live there?
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Did you go to school or do you go to school?
I graduated La Crosse in May. And then I just stayed here because I have my apartment leased till next July. So I figured if I can find some work here, I might as well stay here and head home when at least
it's the same thing I did in Point. Like I graduated 2 years ago already now, and I'm still here living in Point. So, So before we got on the air, BYU scored another touchdown. They're up 35-10, and dude. They're not even going to score 100 points. Okay, they did. No, they haven't. They're almost to the 100-point mark in the Wisconsin game. Wow. I wish you would have talked earlier and been like, I don't know, that line's really high, because I probably been like, you know what, that line is really high. But I saw it and I immediately was just like over.
I saw the line was high. And I'm like, fuck, what do they know that I don't know? Like Wisconsin, I feel like never hits the over. So if it's that high, something must be up. I didn't know much about Nebraska, and that's why I didn't even bet on it because I had no idea.
Well, that's why Wisconsin has been scoring points recently, and they've been covering the spread too. And like one of Nebraska's most recent games, they put up 198 or 110. They put up 98 in a different game before that, 75 in a different game before that, 76. So it's like they were scoring enough to hit the over as long as Wisconsin did too. But I mean, they just now crossed the 40-point threshold with 3 minutes to go in the second half. Like, this is a pathetic game, 57-42. That's
Big Ten basketball.
Yeah. Big Ten basketball, Big Ten football, like it's all the same. Low scoring. Yeah, overs are dangerous bets, but whatever. It's very early on in the season.
A lot of chance to make money back.
Well, a lot of chance to make money back in basketball, but also we just started bowl season yesterday. 2 more bowls today, and my BYU pick looks like it's going to hit, so I'm not worried about it.
Right, and we got the playoffs right around the corner too. So
exactly. Hockey's starting on the horizon. I'm a huge hockey bettor. Love betting hockey. I had quite a streak going in the bubble. I was hitting all sorts of stuff. Hockey totals for me they're the easiest to predict. I mean, I grew up playing hockey and around hockey my whole life, and like I can just tell. I can get a feeling way more easily. And like the total in a hockey game is always going to be somewhere between, I mean, if you have 2 goalies that are just completely on fire with offenses that struggle, you might get like a 4.5 total, but that is so rare. Otherwise, it's going to be between 5 and 6.5. So it's like there's not much leeway one way or the other. You pretty much can feel it out. Is it going to be a 2-1 type game, or is it going to be a 7-4 type game?
Right.
Like I usually have a pretty good read on those things, and I played goalie my whole life, so I love betting goal totals and like save totals, things like that, shutouts. I hit a couple nice shutout props, so I can't wait for hockey to be back.
Yeah. I've just recently gotten to hockey, maybe 2-3 years ago, and I mean that's just an electric sport to watch. I think, like I said, it's tough. Being in Wisconsin here, you don't really have like a team to root for. So I kind of just bandwagon onto the Sharks the year before they went to the Stanley Cup, and it was just awesome just watching them in the playoffs. Watching them a couple of years ago in the playoffs when they beat Vegas on the hand goal, and it's just a fun sport to watch.
It's by far overall the most underrated sport. It's also, I think, the least understood sport. And I think if people took 5 minutes to understand and really appreciate like what these guys do, because like I don't want to get into the hockey's harder than every other sport debate because I've had that so many times, but like inherently, like hockey is harder because the first thing that you have to do is learn how to skate, which, most people, adults, kids, like don't know how to skate. So you have to learn this skill just to be able to participate in the game. Whereas every other game, you use your feet and you use your hands. Like basketball, you have both hands, you have a ball. Like, yes, dunking, extremely hard. But like, if you have the athletic ability, dunking is not hard. All you have to do is put the ball in the hoop. You get to have both your hands on the ball. Like, it's more about athletic ability, jumping ability and stuff. Versus when you're playing hockey, you're standing on skates, which completely throws you out. Like, you're adding a few extra inches. You have to learn how to skate. Then, instead of using your hands and actually physically touching the ball, you got your hands on a stick that's 4.5 feet long, and you're using that stick to control a puck, which is only this big, which is, 6 feet plus away from you on the ground. And then, by the way, the average NHL player in-game action skates anywhere between 18 to 22 miles an hour. That's average. So that's not even like picking up the speed or like when things are moving very fast. You're in a confined space. Like, all these things can just, it's just, hockey's inherently harder. It just is. So I've had this argument a billion times. I wrote a paper on it in school. Like, it's hard. It's very hard, especially to excel at.
That's funny that you say that because I've gotten in many arguments I know a lot of hockey guys. I'm friends with a lot of hockey guys. I've gotten in many like debates about who are better athletes, basketball players or hockey players. And I've always been on the side of basketball players.
Well, at true athleticism at its core, like, of course it's going to be it has to be basketball players. Like, they're all in great shape. They all can jump. They're all usually shredded. Like, they're just more athletically gifted people. in like the more common sense of the word, you know, athlete and athleticism. But like hockey, I feel like it's all there's a
Sorry.
lot no, it's all good, dude. It's I'm just thinking about how I want to frame this. Like there's so much learned skill. Like obviously basketball, you need to learn skills and hone in your skills too, but like nothing about hockey is natural. Nothing about hockey is regular. You don't get to just use your hands and use a ball. You don't get to just walk and run on your feet. Like there's nothing that's natural about the game of hockey. And like hockey players suck at basketball most of the time, but basketball players I guarantee you, nobody in the NBA can play hockey. Like maybe there's a handful of people that like know how to skate, can shoot the puck, maybe, but like they're just such a different game, and they're played by different people. Like, you know, it's not racist, it's not anything like that, but like hockey is extremely white. Basketball is very much it's not a black or white thing. It's all races play basketball, and they have more opportunity to play basketball because all it is a ball and a net. It's much more popular. The average hockey player is like a 5'11" white dude. Like, of course, that demographic is not going to be as athletically gifted. They're just not. Like, it's true. There's probably a lot of baseball players that are more athletically gifted than hockey players. You can keep going down the line. Like, it's just natural born athletic talent. But you take those guys and you try and teach them hockey, it's not going to be the same, even if they started when they were younger, because those freak of nature skills really do not help you in the game of hockey. Like LeBron James, everything that he's going a 50-inch vertical, all that stuff, none of that's going to help you in hockey. Like maybe with speed, explosiveness, you know, be able to, your first few strides are going to be faster if you have explosive legs, but it's like, I don't care if you can, you know, bench 350 pounds and jump 50 inches in the air, like whatever, like that does not help you in hockey.
Yeah. It's really interesting to have like this conversation because just like you said, they're two completely different sports, and the way you play it's completely different. Although the way you play it's completely different, but many of the concepts are like the same. Like as far as like spacing goes, you know, passing zones, whatever. That's
truly running an offense, setting up your offense. Yeah, looking for the best shot, things like that. I mean, they do have a lot of scenarios. Similar scenarios.
Yeah, that's what I think is cool about watching hockey too, because I'm a huge basketball. Like basketball is my number one sport. I'm a huge basketball guy, and I see like a lot of basketball in hockey. And I've always said it'd be cool if basketball you had someone like a goalie like defending the hoop the whole game. That'd be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, and goalie, that's what I played my whole life. And like again, I've had the argument too that like goalie is the hardest position in all of sports. Like you obviously could say quarterback, you obviously can say pitcher, but like the number one thing that I always fall back on, quarterbacks and pitchers, they get breaks all the time. Quarterback comes out, does his drive, boom, gets to go rest, gets to go refocus, gets to go plan ahead for the next drive. Pitcher, same thing. You get your 3 outs, you then get a break. Goalies are out there for 60 minutes of nonstop action. Sometimes you got to make 40 to 60 saves in a night. Sometimes your team is just getting completely dominated, and the time of possession is like 40 minutes to 20 minutes, which means the puck's in your zone for 40 minutes, which means you got to be locked in. You got to be in your stance. You got to be ready. And there's so much more that goes into it too. You know, learning how, like I said, obviously being a quarterback, obviously pitching, those are all insanely hard skill sets, and you need to like learn how to hone those things in. But there's so much in playing goalie in just the movements alone that, you know, a quarterback will never have to learn. A pitcher will never have to learn. Like, yeah, they're probably going to spend 15 years, you know, honing in their curveball, but I'd like to see them try and like deal with a breakaway or V slide across the crease, make a save on the back door, and then immediately, you know, push to the other post, make another save, and then immediately get out to the top of the crease and make a third rebound save from a guy who's super deep in the slot. Like there's just so much, and it happens so fast, and you don't get a break. You never get a break, and you're always blamed. Like people are very quick to blame the goalie, and then you hardly ever get the praise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you wind up with a shutout or something like that, like, yeah, you'll probably get some praise, but like a majority of the time you're taking flack, like the game rides on your shoulders. Like there's so many hard things about being a goalie, and quarterbacks obviously, you know, take a lot of flack and stuff too, but it's like you can go out there and manufacture an impressive drive, and then people will be like, well, they didn't play that bad, or like the stats at the end of the game. I don't know. Oh, he had almost 300 yards, but like, so people make excuses. But then a goalie, say you have an off night, people are just like, he sucks.
Right. Yeah. I'll just give you a little update here. North Carolina and North Carolina State. North Carolina State's up 3. They missed a free throw, 10 seconds left. North Carolina comes down, gets 3 open threes, missed all 3 of them. Game over. North Carolina State won. Fuckers.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
3 wide open threes they missed.
They weren't wide open, but they were hittable.
Makeable threes.
Yeah.
When you get that many rebounds and extra chances at the end of a game, like you got to put it in. Like that's the exact thing that killed me. I had a big bet on Creighton the other day over UConn because UConn hadn't played since December 3rd, and Creighton, number 9 team in the country, they had been rolling, won 3 out of their last 4 by good margins. So I was like, Creighton -3. That's a lock. They were trailing the whole game, ended up forcing overtime, and then they went up by 8 points with 30 seconds to go in overtime. Didn't cover because right at the end, UConn got 3. Same thing. They put up their initial shot. I think it was like a mid-range shot. Ended up missing it. They got that rebound, kicked it out to the 3. The first 3 missed. Got another rebound, kicked it out to the 3, and dude hit it at the buzzer.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah. And then Creighton only ended up winning by 2. So I was like, all you have to do is grab the rebound. Like, come on, how you cannot give up 3 offensive rebounds. Like, you can't let the other team get 3 offensive rebounds in a row in the final 5 seconds. Like, most of the time they're going to make you pay. Apparently UNC couldn't take a page out of UConn's book there.
Yeah, the game sucked. I was trying to watch it here, and North Carolina was down the whole game. They fought back and couldn't finish the job.
Well, the Wisconsin game's over 67-53, so 110. The under hit by 31 points.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy, that was a bad bet. The Brooklyn Nets are up by 30 with 10 minutes to go in the 4th. That's all right. I'm done talking about my bad basketball bets. I'm just gonna hang my hat on the fact that BYU is up by 25 at half. I just need the Lakers to win tonight, and everything will be okay. Gonzaga, I wouldn't mind if they go ahead and blow them out either, because I could use that extra few bucks.
Right.
Oh boy, I ate the most, probably close to the most unhealthy meal that you could possibly eat right before we came on the air here.
I might challenge you for
that. Taco Bell and Burger King chicken nuggets was what I just consumed.
Okay, all right. I had
pretty bad, and my stomach does not feel awesome.
Yeah. Probably that's probably a little more unhealthy than mine. I just had 2 double hot dogs, so 4 hot dogs with chili, cheese, onions, and then a plate of fries.
I mean, that's definitely not healthy, but I think it's like standard. Like 4 hot dogs is a lot. I'll give you that. The double hot dogs, that's, I'm not sure I could put 2 doubles down, but at least, I don't know, it's like a semi-normal thing. Like my girlfriend said she was going to go get us Taco Bell. She comes back with Taco Bell and spicy chicken nuggets from Burger King. And I was just like, oh, you're going to make me do both of these at the same time. So I ate a Crunch Wrap, a shredded mini chicken quesadilla, and an entire order of spicy chicken nuggets. So
those are good, man, too.
Oh, they are good. But I just feel after you get through like 6 of them, you start to like think about, and you like, they just start to feel so gross. Cause like you start to think about like the horrible stuff that you're eating and like what these chicken nuggets are made out of. And like, then by the end, they're like not even tasting good anymore. Cause I'm just like, but I'm still eating them.
Right.
It's like, it's not so bad when you're eating them on your own, or you throw them in there once in a while. But when you're eating them in conjunction with Taco Bell, and that's all I've had to eat today, not great.
All right, that's part and reason why I grabbed a White Claw too instead of a beer, so I can cut a little more of those calories out.
There you go. You go. I started drinking a lot of the Truly hard lemonades. They have a strawberry lemonade. Oh, so good.
I got awesome. Yeah,
I got the big one right here. Yeah. I like most of the flavors, but like I really love that strawberry lemonade one. And most stuff like that is usually too sweet for me. Like I love seltzers. Like White Claws are super good. The lemon White Claw I think is like the best drink I've ever had. I love the seltzers with like, a little bit less flavor versus like Truly's and Smirnoff smashes and stuff. They're very, very sweet. They have a ton of flavor, so I don't really love that as much. But I found this strawberry one. I'm obsessed with them. Yeah. And they're only like $2.19 at Quick Trip for
for a big one.
For 24 ouncer, yeah.
Right. You know what else is good is the high noons.
Oh, high noons are
Those
good.
are great.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up because I was wanting to talk Barstool with you.
Yeah, I'm a big Barstool guy.
I know. That's how I was going to start. I was like, well, I know you're a big Barstool guy. I'm a huge fan of Barstool.
Mhm.
I've been a fan of Barstool in general for probably longer than I had known, because I was introduced to Pardon My Take through some friends, and they were like, these are the funniest dudes. Like, you got to listen to them, blah, blah, blah. And so I started listening to them, and I didn't even really correlate them to Barstool, which might sound weird now, but like, they promoted Barstool less back then because like Barstool was smaller, and like Pardon My Take was getting up and running, and like they had this partnership with like ESPN and all this and that, and like I just never went any further. Like I just wasn't all that interested, and like I never even checked out Barstool really. But then I got into it and I started reading, and I was like, I've seen some of these articles, I've seen some of these names on Twitter, like, and then I started really becoming a fan. So Pardon My Take got me into it way back when they kind of first started. But now I'm a huge fan of Barstool. I read them all the time. I watch their shows daily. It's pretty much like the only content outside of sports. And I mean, I watch TV and read books and stuff too. Other than that, it's like Barstool content. Like that's my source of entertainment.
Right. I'm in the same boat with you. I think I got on it. It must be 5-6 years ago. I started listening to KFC radio, and that's been out for like 10 years now. And I started listening to it like maybe their 4th, 5th year in, and that was the only thing like I listened to for years. And then Pardon My Take came along, and I got more into it that way. But I absolutely love like KFC and Feidelberg, and when Big Cat was on there, it was awesome.
Yeah, I like when they do the KFC radio classics. They haven't done one in a long time, but like Feidelberg is one of my favorite. Like I'm going to get to that because I was going to ask you, I want your favorite shows. I want your favorite Barstool personalities, because like Feidelberg has always been up there for me. Like that dude is so funny, dude. And he doesn't even try and be. And like I can relate to him so closely. Just everything he says, everything he does. Like I love Feidelberg so much. And KFC, I was always a big fan of too. And he was one of the original people that drew me in because I saw him on Twitter and I had read some of his stuff and whatever. But then when I first started getting into Barstool was when everybody was hating on KFC because everything happened with his family and, you know, the divorce thing. And like everybody was just hating on KFC everywhere. Like there was no KFC love at all. And I was like, well, I like this guy. Why doesn't anybody else? But like now we're a few years down the road, like a few years after that. And I think the pendulum has swung back on KFC. Like, he just does so much for the company, and I don't think he gets like nearly enough respect. And like he arguably does more than anybody else for that company. Like Brandon Walker hosts a ton of shows, and obviously Dave and Big Cat are like the most intricate part, like, and most important people at Barstool probably. But like KFC has his hand in everything. He's on like every show. He does all the Instagram videos. He used to host. I mean, he still does radio, like CCK and stuff like that. But back at their old New York studio, KFC was in there 100% of the time. They were live on the air. Anytime they were on XM, KFC was the host. So like, I just don't think he gets enough respect and love. And he comes up with like a lot of really cool things, like the Behind the Blog. I love watching Behind the Blog. Pretty much anything KFC ever does. But when I first started becoming a fan of him, like everybody hated on him. And I tweeted like 2 or 3 years ago at this point, probably like 2 years ago. I was like, let's hear your top 5 Barstool personalities. And KFC was in my top 5. He's not anymore. He's been slightly edged out by a few other people, but everybody was just like, oh, KFC, like, KFC, like he's such a bitch. And like, he's your classic New York, like whatever. Like I hate KFC. I'm like, I like KFC a lot. He's also working my dream job. Like you got to respect the hell out of him. You know, he's one of the original Barstool guys. It's just like, I don't see anything wrong with KFC. Like, what he did was, you know, of course it's shitty. Like anybody cheating on their wife is shitty, but like that's a personal life, a personal situation. And the only reason that it was blown up and that people commented on it so much and hated him so much is because he was so popular and it was put out there by Barstool, you know? So. Yeah.
I'm with you. Like he's probably in my top 5. Like I've been with him ever since, like I've been doing Barstool stuff, but
and KFC Radio started in 2009. They actually talked about that, I think 2 weeks ago on Friday Night Pints, which is the inspiration for this show. If those of you out there who have never seen Friday Night Pints, it's a little bit better if you know the Barstool personalities, because then it's not just 6 or 8 random people talking at you. But that's also another thing in addition to like Behind the Blog. Like all the shows that KFC does, I love. Like, and he started all these things. So yeah, the Friday Night Pints, everybody should go check that out. But I think him and Feidelberg were talking about how long it had been, and I think the first episode of KFC Radio came out in like 2009.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think like KFC and his brother who produced KFC Radio, they like brought podcasts to Barstool, and that was like the first big one. Was obviously KFC Radio.
It was the first one for Barstool, yes.
And then it kind of blew up more when they got Pardon My Take, but that just shows like how much KFC has done for the company in general. And he's one who like hired Feidelberg on full time. He's hired a bunch of guys that are still there today, and produce some of the best content.
Yeah, that's another reason I love Fights so much. Like, he just worked for free for like 4 or 5 years. Right. And then a lot of people don't know this, but like, you might have never even heard of Barstool, but I bet you've heard of Saturdays Are for the Boys, or like you've seen somebody post Saturdays Are for the Boys, or like a different variation of Saturdays Are for the Boys. Like, many people do not know, A, that's a Barstool thing, and B, that's a John Feidelberg. John Henry Feidelberg came up with Saturdays Are for the Boys, and it was on KFC Radio, and it was just something that he said that they took and ran with. And like, the crazy part is, like, he never saw any kick. Like, still makes the company millions and millions of dollars off of Saturdays Are for the Boys, and he has never seen kickback from it. He's never been paid for it. He's never gotten any special treatment. Whereas like Dana B, who I also love Dana B and Zillion Beers, but it's like Dave offered him $10,000 right off the bat if he could do $100,000 in merch. For those of you who don't know the story, he then parlayed that into, well, I can do $1 million worth of merch, and I want $100,000. And Dave signed. It was like, all right, you got a deal. If you can do $1 million by this Sunday, I think he gave him 10 total days. And Dana B did it. He hit over $1 million, and then he donated the entire $100,000 to an ALS foundation. Didn't keep a single cent. So it's like. And it's the same thing with like Barstool has started their Barstool Fund now to help businesses that are struggling in New York, small businesses and things like that. People just love to hate on Barstool, even though they really do. They do so many great things, and they have a lot of great people in their company. But people think they're just douchey frat boys, like racist, sexist. They think Dave is just like a money or a glamour hog. Like, he just does things to like promote himself, and like none of those things are true. Like, if you take 10 seconds and like look into Barstool as we bring Zach in, you realize none of those things are true. And
right,
it's too bad that they get the rap that they do, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Like, the fans are rabid, and it's growing all the time. So
hello, Zach.
Hey, what's up, boys?
Just talking a little Barstool. Luke and I are both, big Barstool guys. So, do you like Barstool at all? You read Barstool? You're older than we are, obviously. So like, you could have gotten in at the ground floor of Barstool, but like, when did you find out about those guys?
I was offered a job with them like right when they were starting, and I turned it down.
Do you have any regrets about that?
Slightly. I mean, they're fine. I think they're okay. They have a good business model. I don't think their content's any good, but that's about it. Like, I think they're entertaining, but I don't think they have zero substance.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, if you're going to Barstool for like true, actual, like, you want real sports information and like well thought out picks and whatever, like then that's your fault, because you're going to the wrong place. Like, but it's total entertainment, and it's like it's personality driven, which I know, like, that's kind of what I'm trying to get across in this show. And I know if we at Flurry like ever expand into like, outside the sports realm, like that's kind of where it's all about the personalities. It's personality driven. So that's what I love about Barstool, and it's like it's easy content to consume too. Every week I'm watching their stool scenes, and then they come up with something like stool streams, and like that's such a high level of production. Have you ever watched the stool streams, Luke?
Oh yeah.
It is great. Like, it's literally, they do better than ESPN. Like, it is such a high level of production. They have immediate replays. They have these crazy intros built. They have, stat cards. They run and graphics. They run the broadcast just like a normal actual network. Like, the work that they do is amazing. But again, it is all for entertainment. It's all entertainment driven.
Yeah,
versus actual like you said, Zach, substance and information driven. But
which is fine. Like I would say they have just as much substance as ESPN, but they're more entertaining.
Sure. Way more entertaining, yeah. And they do the same types of things, and like, but you know, I think as a whole they got more talent and they got less, like, you know, reporters that then turned into TV personalities. Like, I think that's what a lot of ESPN is writers and reporters who like then learned how to be a TV personality, whereas Barstool is just all personality. And like, that's what gets you the opportunities to like make content and write and all those things. It's like, it is your entertainment. It is your personality. So it's kind of like the exact opposite way.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree.
Just to reiterate, Zach, you turned down a job for them. Who offered you the job from there?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know who. It was basically like a shit pay. Like, it maybe $10 per article. I don't even know. Just hourly thing. And someone hit me up on LinkedIn, I think. Who knows? It wasn't any big name person.
Gotcha.
You're just some hiring manager looking for
yeah.
extremely cheap content from people who knew how to write.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's so. Who are your? We can get off the Barstool topic soon here, but Luke, who are your top 5? Because we teased that, and then give me some of your favorite shows that they do too.
Well, obviously, I'll stay with my favorite show here. Like, I absolutely love KFC Radio. I mean, it's what got me into Barstool. I listen to it every Tuesday, Thursday. You know, Lowering the Bar is so fucking funny. I watch that.
So good, so good.
Yeah. But if I had to give you my top 5, I don't know if I can put them in order, but I'll give you 5 is Feidelberg. It's tough to leave Marty Mush out of my top 5.
Marty is my 6. He's just outside.
I love Brandon Walker. No, he's probably outside. I'll give PFT in 3. I think
PFT and Big Cat are like, they're in everybody's top 5. They just are. They're the best.
See, I'm going to go against the grain here. Big Cat's not in my top 5.
He's not. All right.
No, KFC. I put him at 4, and then to round out the top 5, probably. You know, I used to love when Mantis was there. You know, he's not there anymore, but Mantis was awesome.
Poor Mantis. Did you see the video he made about starting his new career after Barstool? And it's a DoorDash driver. Hilarious. He makes this whole YouTube video. It's like 11 minutes long, and he sets it up. He's wearing like this suit, and he's talking about how excited he is for this new opportunity and like this and that. And like his time at Barstool was great, but like he found this new job that's going to be so satisfying. And then he gets in his car and he's like, I'm a DoorDash driver. Like,
right.
And his look, have you ever seen Mantis? Zach, you know what he looks like?
No.
Weird looking kid, and he's got one of those giant chest bumps. Like his like sternum comes way out, so it's like he's just a weird looking kid, and he totally embraces it too. But that's what makes him so funny.
Yeah, it's very funny. And then I'll say to round out my top 5, Jared Carrabis.
I do have to admit that the Rocket is somebody that had to grow on me. I didn't, for some reason, I didn't really love him or care about his content when I first started watching. But then like he got in my head because I listen to CCK a lot, and then I don't really go out and consume baseball content, which is the problem. Like I just don't sit around and listen to baseball content and podcasts and stuff. Yeah. So it's like he had to really work to get like into my fandom, and like he's not even in my top 10, but I do like him, and he's been around for a long time. But I actually, so in my free time, I haven't started the article yet because I'm still ranking, but here, I'll show you guys. I'm going to do a full, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Can you kind of see the list of names there? There we go. So I actually have everybody ranked out, and then I have the people without a spot at the bottom yet. And I'm going to do like a full feature article one of these days. I have a lot more important things to get done, but I started this on December 8th. Okay. So I've kind of just been, playing around with it, moving people around. So I actually have people ranked. My number 1 is Big Cat. He's the guy that got me into it. I love just every show that Big Cat's on. It makes it better. Like I just love Big Cat. PFT's number 2, Feidelberg 3, Nick Tirani at 4.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Nick.
The funniest dude on the face. Like I love him so much. He's like, and he's another one of those guys that's super talented outside of, just his extremely dry, witty banter and comedy. But I love Nick. And then Brandon Walker and KB are tied for my 5th spot.
Fair.
And then it goes Marty, Dave, Hank, KFC, Billy Football.
Yeah, Billy Football's so fucking funny too.
Yeah. So and then the list goes on. I won't rattle them all off, but Stu Feiner is making his way up the list. I tell you, every time I hear that dude talk, he just moves up and up and up. Just a ridiculous guy. I don't know how somebody like that even exists. But
great follow on Instagram too.
Oh, and Twitter. Yes, amazing. Last week he hit. Have you ever seen how much he sells his bets for? His picks. It's crazy. Zach, have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't.
His cheapest daily package price, which I think is only like a group of like 3 picks, is $129. And then it jumps up to $2,500, $5,000. And then he has I believe a $10,000, $100,000 best bet. So you have to pay 10 grand for the right to even see the pick. And then you're supposed to bet 100 grand on it. And he makes money off of it. Like, people actually buy these picks. Most of them are between like 25,000 or 2,500 and 5,000. But anyway, last week he won Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Won every all of his $10,000 best bets. He hit his 100 grand best bet. Just crazy. I mean, but he's also like a big proponent of like smart gambling and like just knowing that like you're never truly going to win. Like it's a losing position over the long haul. You just got to like make the most out of your hot streaks and like and it's also, you have to have the capital to actually make some money, but he's been making money since, I mean, his stories are crazy. And he's got multi millions of dollars, but he's just very, very entertaining. So yeah, those are my we can move on to a different subject.
I mean, I could talk about that list forever, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe when it's just like the two of us again, we can always revert back to Barstool stuff, because I have a ton of shows I would like to discuss with you as well. But I think right now, just because I've been so obsessed with watching it, like The Dozen is like my favorite show on Barstool right now. Incredible. Jeff D. Lowe, electric host. I love that dude. So good. And I keep saying like I love all these guys, but like I really do. Like that's the thing. Like I just enjoy them so much.
The Chicago guys in there are just absolutely electric.
Yeah, I recently just went back, and the Chicago guys were on like 3 of the first like 6 dozen episodes, and good stuff.
It's electric,
good stuff.
And I'm a big trivia guy too, so I love watching it. And
same.
It's fun to play too. They have like questions that you should know, but you don't know, and they're like right there on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah. Very well written questions, very well produced. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways. Zach, what have you been up to? You've been working on a lot of NBA stuff?
Yeah, I've been covering pretty much every single NBA game right now for Osmo mostly, but doing a lot of DFS stuff. When you just talked about that, I was placing more bets for tonight's game. Doing a lot of prop. That's partly I sent you, Luke. I missed because Kyrie dropped a steal. He fell out of bounds, and then he didn't get 1 assist. That was it.
I told you the assists were gonna fuck you.
Well, KD was fine, but fuck me, man.
Yeah.
Like that was a nice parlay.
Yeah.
But I'm happy NBA's here. NBA props are so easy.
That's
like,
what I was just talking to Jake about that. Like I'm not a big like NBA like spreads and totals guy, but props are where you make the money in NBA.
Spreads are stupid to bet on. Anyone who thinks that they have any consistency betting on NBA spreads is a liar. It's almost the same thing with college basketball. Like, good luck. Anybody can win any night, even if they're literally like 40-point underdogs.
And there's so many ways to get screwed, like, that are just stupid. Like, I mean, the Warriors, obviously, they're still getting blown out, but like the end of the fourth quarter here on the back end, they've made a bit of a run. So, like, if Brooklyn wasn't hitting such a high percentage of shots, they may have had a chance to battle back, end up covering that 7.5. Obviously, they're not even close, but like it's just the type of game where they're losing by 30 all game, and then the winning team stops trying for the entire second half of the fourth quarter, and then the team that was trailing by 30 comes back and has the backdoor cover somehow. Like I've just seen it happen a million times. I lost on that brutal shot by Creighton, which we already shot by UConn against Creighton, which we already talked about before you hopped on, Zach. But it's like you give up 3 You let them get 3 offensive rebounds in the final 5 seconds after you were up by 8 points in overtime with 30 seconds to go, and you don't cover the 3-point spread. It's just sickening. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well,
and,
any spread within 5 points is pretty much worthless, in my opinion, if they're like favorites by 5 points. Because if they're up by 5 or up by 6 or something, it just turns into a foul game.
Right.
So if a team makes their free throws, like it can go from 2 points or 3 points to 10 points in less than a minute of real game time. It's frustrating.
Luke, you know what's going to happen to me? I'm gonna make the wrong bet on the wrong night, but 2 nights in a row. Gonzaga's up 20-2 in the first half right now. So I bet them first half last night instead of full game. And it didn't hit, and they ended up hitting the full game. I guarantee you tonight they blow them out in the first half. They don't even try in the second half, and Northwestern State ends up covering. I guarantee you, because I only took them full game tonight.
That's how it works, man.
Dude, 20-2. I mean, come on. I had them. I think minus 23 in the first half. Yesterday against the same team, and they were up by 18.5. Ended up winning the game by almost 50. It's going to be the exact opposite way tonight.
Zach, did you watch the Wisconsin-Nebraska game?
Not the whole thing, but most of it, yeah.
Why was that over under at 142? Isn't that high?
No, it's high. No one knows how to, I think, project Wisconsin still.
Yeah.
Like one night they are reverting back to like a Bo Ryan swing system where they just milk the possessions and stuff. The next night would be like Louisville when they just drain every single thing.
They routed Louisville, put up 85 without even having to try in the second half. And tonight they put up 67 against Nebraska. It's like, and they were lucky to get to that 67 because Nebraska was just missing a bunch late in that second half. They ended up putting up 42 in the second half. They only scored 25 points in the first half tonight. Like 53-67. That's such an ugly basketball game. Like that's literally like girls' high school basketball. I mean, except, not quite. Girls' high school basketball is usually more like 24-32 or something like that. But still, that's the kind of feel that this game had.
Pretty much. I mean, Wisconsin is so hit or miss. Like literally they can be the best team in the entire country if they hit their shots. And then when they miss, it's rough because they don't have anyone good enough to, take over a game. Or the only player who can really thrive on his own anyways is Trice. Everybody else needs to be set up. And if Trice is turning the ball over or Davison is so frustrating anyway.
I don't think he's that good of a player.
What'd you say?
I don't think Davison's that good of a player.
I don't think so either, but the problem is he was good when he came in. I don't think he's improved on one thing. No, I think he's the exact same player.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, he takes bad shots and he draws charges. That's all he does.
He's like what Aaron Kraft was to Ohio State a couple years back,
Yeah, the exact same player.
I wish more than anything that the Badgers could have just figured out a way to not blow it in the second half against Duke. Like, I just feel like you're never going to be back there. You're never going to have that same kind of team. You're never going to have that chemistry. You're never going to have those namesake. Like, it's just not going to happen again. And like, you were up on Duke in the second half of the national championship.
Don't worry.
I was just talking about this game today. Like, the refs let the Duke win. Like, for sure. That's all it was. Wisconsin won.
100%.
That'll all come out when Coach K retires, that he's all paying, all his wins will get vacated and everything. And college basketball will be back to normal, and I can still hate on Coach K.
And then Wisconsin can hang the
I don't think he's a good coach, no.
He hasn't had a good team in 10 years.
Yeah, I'm starting to think less and less, especially in today's basketball, style. Like, he probably did not get the most out of Zion in general, but that team in general, and people go there, top level recruits go there just because it's Duke and because it is Coach K. But like, that's all he's working with is the best talent in the country now. It's like, I'm more impressed by other teams, even Wisconsin type teams, who actually have just good players and, a decent level of talent, but like not the top picks in the NBA draft. And they actually go out and they scheme things up and they work as a team. And like, Coach K doesn't really do any coaching. Like, if he gets down in a game, they never come back. Like, if Duke gets down, they're done. They don't make any adjustments. They never come back. Like they have to keep a close game or be winning the entire time. And then when they lose, then he's just an asshole in the post game press conference, or he comes up with like some sort of reasoning or excuse or whatever. And it's like the dude's old, like he's been around forever and he is old. And like obviously he's a legendary coach, but like, is he a good coach in today's game? Like, I don't think so.
Well, that team that he had too with Zion, and they had 4 top 10 recruits, and they almost lost to Taco Fall in the second round of the tournament.
That's what I mean. When that much talent, like they still need to be coached up sometimes. And like when the talent isn't working for them and they need to rely on coaching, they need to rely on adjustments. Like he just doesn't know what to do. He's like, he basically looks at them and is like, you guys are the best basketball players in the country. Like you need to figure it out. And it's like, well, coach, no, we're just having an off night. Like we could actually use your help tonight. And he's like, no, you're supposed to be the best team. So go out and be the best team. Like that's pretty much his coaching style.
I don't know if it's my North Carolina bias talking here, but I think Roy Williams is a far superior coach to Mike Krzyzewski. Roy Williams, just watching like the last 2 years, the teams have not been good. But these halftime adjustments he makes are just wonderful. And, they're usually down, 5 to 10 points at half. He comes out and takes a lead with 15 minutes left in the game, just like that, And I just haven't seen Coach K do that the last, 5-10 years.
Yeah, at least that long. I mean, he's just riding on his own coattails at this point. And it's like players are not going to stop going to Duke. And they're not going to get rid of Coach K. So it's just going to be this, like, they're a little bit better than mediocre. But, like, I think as far as tournament runs and things like that, they're just going to float in mediocrity for probably the rest of his career. Like, I'm not even sure. If you're giving me odds on if he wins another national title or not the rest of his career, I'm probably saying no.
It would just have to be like a bunch of really good not in-state, but like same state recruits bonding together and all like joining forces again. Like he's done that a few times where they like form a super team almost in college. But outside of that, I mean, you look, Kentucky's the same way with Calipari. He doesn't know how to coach.
Right.
I think Roy Williams is a better coach. Last year, he was not. Like towards the end of the year, he started coaching again.
Right.
Like there's points in last year where he's like, we're supposed to be so much better. Like, you're right, coach.
Yeah.
You are.
You don't know
so
how
figure it out. Yeah. Yeah.
So bad to watch last year.
It was rough.
BYU is just obliterating UCF 49-10, hardly into the third quarter.
What do you think about the game tonight, Zach? Who's winning tonight?
Between Lakers and Clippers?
Mm-hmm.
I need the Lakers. I need them bad.
I think it's going to be Lakers. Man, I really hate this Lakers team. I hate LeBron, obviously. But the way they form their team, it's the slowest team of all time. Even going back, like I think Bill Russell's Celtics would run circles around them. They got rid of JaVale McGee and replaced him with the only center slower than him in Marc Gasol. They're planning on bringing Pau Gasol back because Pau wants to play with his brother, which is ridiculous. They're trying to get Trevor Ariza to get cut so they can bring him back for whatever reason. Like it makes no sense.
Again, like none of these things are considered tampering, but like Woj tweeting out something about the Bucks, like cost them a second round pick. Like that's such a joke. The NBA is a joke in that way.
Joke.
Yeah. Was it you that tweeted out a link? Adam Silver sucks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was like earlier today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I read the tampering thing the Bucks got.
Yeah, exactly. It's like LeBron, like all these teams, Magic, was accused of stuff when he was in charge. Like all these teams are just like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. But then the Bucks like are victim of a Woj tweet and they get a draft pick taken away in the coming years when they already traded away all their draft picks to get Drew Holiday because they thought the deal was done with Bogdan. So it's like it's all just a big pile of shit, and the Bucks are now, suffering from it. And no other team ever gets more than just like a hey, don't do that.
Well, LeBron owns a sports agency.
Right.
He's the owner of these agents that are managing these players. Like, do you think there's any tampering going on? And for some reason, they all end up in LA. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. What a coincidence.
It's just the weather, Zach. Everybody just wants to live in the nice weather. That's all it is.
Yeah. Or Curry, is recruiting players during the game. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. The NBA does so many good things, but then they're also such a joke on so many levels. And they almost like pride themselves on it though, where it's like they think they're a step above every other league. They think that they run things better. They think that they treat their players better. And in some aspects, you have to give it to them there. But like overall, you know, they don't shit roses.
Yeah. I mean, they've done a really good job at somehow like very clearly making it player centric. Like every player has their own individual brands. And you look at the NFL is the exact opposite. Juju Smith-Schuster would fit in just normally in the NBA. He'd
be embraced. The NBA would love him.
Yeah, and people at the NFL are trying to target his head, try to knock his ass out so he doesn't dance anymore. Like I think he's exactly Kyle Kuzma of the NFL, except for he's more talented than Kuzma. Like he sucks, but yeah. I mean, he gets. A lot of people think he's still good, including the Lakers, for whatever reason. He's terrible.
You can tell by the 4-year. What is it? $80 million they just gave him, or whatever.
Something like that. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Like he's getting NFL quarterback money for being a 6-man who can't score.
A 6-man who averages like points a game on 35% shooting.
And of all that talent that they had too, like I don't think anybody thought Kuz would be the one to not only win a championship with them, but then sign with them long term. Like between Ball and Ingram and like all these guys that were supposed to be like potential stars, it's like Kyle Kuzma's the one that ends up sticking.
Well, he's the one that was off limits in the trade for Anthony Davis.
Yeah,
they were willing to trade Ingram and Ball, just like willy-nilly. Like I don't know how he wasn't untouchable. And while the trade talks were going on, he was like shooting 25% or something. So it's not like he was balling out back then either.
Yeah. And he has flashes. Like he has some nights where he does look good, but then like, 6 games go by and he averages like his averages go way down. It's like Kuzma's not a superstar. I think he's a fine role player. And maybe that's what LeBron wants right now is like somebody that isn't going to try and steal his light ever and knows that, he's not going to try and touch him. He's already got Anthony Davis there to like, put up better stats than him and stuff. So he probably feels comfortable with Kuz because I feel like with LeBron, it's about that just as much as it is basketball now, where it's about like him being the one in charge, him being the one that gets all the credit, no matter how much he says that that's not what it's about for him. Like it is, it always has been.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if they lose, then he talks about all the other players' performances anyway. So
right.
It's very clearly, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, I was 2 assists away from a triple-double. And if my teammates would have hit those shots, I would have had my triple-double. So, like, it's not on me.
I was calling himself the king, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, if anybody's going to be cocky, like, LeBron at least deserves it, has earned it versus, guys like Juju and the works. Like, they've done nothing remotely even close. It's like LeBron legitimately is in the conversation. I mean, if it's not Michael Jordan, it's LeBron for the best player ever. So it's like you can hate on him and wish he did act different, but it's like at least the dude has worked his whole life to be able to act this way. At least he has that. And most other players just don't.
I mean, the NBA is lucky that all the money they invested in him in high school and all the marketing around him to get him to be the first overall pick paid off. Because he didn't learn like any moves until like his 8th or 9th year in the NBA, except for a stiff arm, which he uses every single game. He's really good at those. He didn't develop a shot until like 8 years down the road, but he's a really good dunker.
He's a really good dunker. He's very strong.
Right. Never been in a dunk contest, but he can dunk really well.
All right, Skip Bayless.
Well, like what could he do? He developed a step back once he joined Miami.
Yeah.
And then finally, like when he came back to the Cavs, I think that was his peak in his career. That's when he played the best.
Sure.
Yeah.
But before that, he did nothing. He just lowers his shoulder and pushes, either draws a foul or gets a layup. That's his whole game.
Can't shoot free throws either.
No. Not worth anything. You can't shoot free throws. His step back when it's on though, it is pretty. I mean, I have to say that it's
yeah,
it is. But But again, it's like a lot of guys don't have the ability to work. What has it been? 16 years in the NBA or something like that. When did he come in? 2003, somewhere in there? Yeah.
Yep.
So 16, 17 years, like a lot of guys don't have the opportunity or ability to, especially 8, 10 years in to develop their game because they're already out the league, So it's like, I don't know. You can credit him and discredit him in a million different kind of ways, but
Sure.
Zach, any big holiday plans for the weekend?
Not really. Just sticking around here. Gonna be. I'm with family each day, like even day, but doing a lot of sports coverage stuff and watching a lot of sports. Hopefully, making a lot of money. That'll make Christmas a lot better.
Right.
That's about it. That's all I'm looking forward to.
yeah, I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel right now between gifts and rent coming up, and I've had a $600+ WPS bill hanging over my head since April.
Oh,
I haven't paid my power bill since April, and I was worried about it. Like it caused me like anxiety for like a long time, and now I'm just laughing because it's so pathetic that I haven't paid my power bill since April, and I know they're not going to shut me off until the spring. So I'm just hoping, like, I play the stock market a lot, and like the only reason I've been able to pay off my car, pay my rent, like not have a job for 2 years since I graduated college is like because I do pretty well in the stock market. So like I'm hoping to make one just big trade because I never, since the day I started my account, I have not withdrawn a single dollar. All the profit I make, I just reinvest. I leave it all in there, but I think I might have to end up pulling like $1,000 out to pay off my bills because March or something's going to come around and I'm going to try and flip my lights on one day and they're not going to be there.
Yeah, that's rough. I've been there though. Like just scraping by, like push it off. I'll worry about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Something's going to hit. And then usually it does.
Yep.
Or some stupid luck. Like you hit some big bet, something in the stock market, or somehow you take down a tournament in DraftKings. Like, okay, there we go.
Right.
People warning me for this bad behavior.
Right.
Yeah. There's that $650 I needed. So like I'm psyched I won it, but now I got to go pay WPS with it. So that's kind of lame, but whatever. It's like I need my internet. My water's included with my rent. My landlord is like a very, very strict dude. And like if you don't have it in by the first, it's $100 at charge, and he'll charge you without even thinking a second or giving you some leeway. So it's like I have to pay off all this other stuff, but WPS charges me like 0.15% as a penalty or something like that. So I haven't paid them in over 6 months, and I think I've paid like $7 in fees for it or something like that. So it's like I have no incentive to pay that bill.
Yeah.
So if I got to not pay one thing, it's going to be WPS, and like they'll get it someday. But
Stick it to the man.
What's that?
Stick it to the man.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh man, Zach, I was telling Luke right before we got on the air, I ate probably the most unhealthy meal that you can possibly eat as a human. I had Taco Bell, a Crunchwrap Supreme, and a shredded chicken mini quesadilla, and then Burger King chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
At the same time, I had nothing else today. I had a dentist appointment earlier, and I got this fluoride treatment done, and you're not supposed to eat for like 5 hours afterwards and whatever. And so I didn't eat all day. So the only thing I've had is Taco Bell and Burger King chicken nuggets. They're like 10 for $1.49 chicken nuggets. So, they're like very high quality, really good. Yeah, that's all I've had. So nothing green. I've hardly drank any water. Feeling great.
By the way, Burger King never calls them chicken nuggets. They always say nuggets. And I think they're really careful with that. I don't know what that means.
True. Oh, God, that's true.
Hey, whatever, man. They taste good.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm just like, it's not chicken.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not chicken. And if it is the chicken, it's the parts of the chicken you wouldn't recognize. It's not.
That's where I'm at right now with McDonald's bringing the McRib back.
Did you see the picture of the McRib when it's frozen?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
It looks like lint. Like, you get that lint in your jeans sometimes, and it's like just kind of, it's linty, but it has like that kind of grayish blue hue to it. That's exactly what the McRib looks like. Except it's, it's about this big in block form. There we go. And then it's got the fake ribs through it, which are just like raised ridges. It's so disgusting. If you look it up right now, you'll be very turned off to it.
I'll tell you though, it tastes so good, man.
I'll be totally honest. I've had one bite of a McRib in my whole life, and it was not that long ago. I don't like barbecue sauce. I've never been I love ribs if it's got like a very, very light barbecue sauce on it, or I'll just like eat it, just put some salt on it and eat it because I love the meat. But I'm not a big barbecue guy. I did find a Huckleberry barbecue when I was out in Montana that was phenomenal. It's like one of the only barbecue sauces that I have ever tried and liked. So anyway, the McRib has just never appealed to me. And then on top of that, it's the same reason I've never had a fillet of fish. I love fish. I like fish sandwiches, but like, do I need a fish sandwich from McDonald's? Probably not. So like, I've always felt that same way about the McRib, but it came back and I wanted to try it. So I went and I blew $4 and however many cents on it. I took one bite and I was like, it doesn't taste horrible, but like, I do not want to, I don't even want to take another bite of this thing. I did take another like small bite. And then I was like, all right, I'm done. Threw the rest of it away. So I've had like 1.5 bites of a McRib my whole life. And like, I understand people love it. And like, I'm sure there's nothing really all that wrong with it compared to all the other food that McDonald's serves, but it's just not appealing to me. And, I didn't want to think about how my stomach was going to feel if I finished the whole thing, basically.
But Burger King and Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. I'm feeling great. Yeah. No, it's pretty disgusting. I can't wait for Christmas to be over food and aspect wise because I lost like almost 12 pounds before I went to Montana in August. And I was feeling really good. I went 3 weeks without having a single drink. I wasn't eating like bread and pasta and stuff, just trying like thin down. Oh, I mean, I've been drinking lots since then, but like, I was like, we're doing lots of hikes and like, I just want to feel good for my vacation. So I did like 3 weeks of just my own kind of custom thing. I lost like 12 pounds and I felt great. And I have put those 12 pounds on and then some like since then. Like I probably put on 20. I was back down into the kind of like the low 180s, I think, and now I'm at least 195. So, I just
That's what it does.
What's you froze?
Oh, sorry, I said that's what winter does. Sitting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Watching Packers every Sunday.
For sure. Well, and for me, I was always the opposite of most people, where like people take the winter off, they eat worse, they sit around more. But for me, like I was in a hockey rink 7 days a week, and like if I wasn't playing hockey, I was reffing hockey, or I was like working out for hockey or whatever. So like winters were great for me. I always got in my best shape, and I always felt great going into the spring. And then I kind of slack off during the summer. I start drinking more, and I'd just be golfing and like sitting around, not really doing stuff as actively. And then winter would come around, I get in great shape again. So since I don't have that in my life anymore, it's kind of like I still treat the summers the same, but now in the winter, like I'm getting fat in the winter too. So it's like, shit, I don't have a workout time anymore.
Yeah, after this Christmas season is just going to be like a drunken stupor for me, I think. I'm just going to try to just be at that state the entire time. And then afterwards, January is going to hit diet time. That's going to be hardcore. We'll see how February is, but January for sure.
Yeah. January for sure. At least like the 1st through like the 14th or something like that. It's going to be really good. Yeah. And then, we'll see how the second half of January goes.
Well, it depends on if I drink all my beer by January 1st. I might have to have a couple, like a gray area there. So maybe let's go January 3rd. And then.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you got to celebrate New Year's too. And then like there might be some beers left after New Year's. So you got to finish those up. So I think the 3rd is a pretty fair goal.
Yeah. I can't keep it in the house because that's just temptation. So we just need to make sure get all that out. Maybe the whiskey too. Tequila, I don't think has calories. That's what I'll convince myself. So I'll keep that.
See, I'm a big rum guy. So like if I go on a binge, I'm a big, like I'll drink pretty much any liquor, but I'm a big rum guy. I always have been. And it's just there's so much sugar in it and like molasses and everything like that. So it's like, instead of crushing 6 or 7 beers, I might only have a few mixed drinks, but like I make them stiff. So then I'm drinking I'm drinking a lot of liquor, and it's like it's one of the sweetest liquors available. So like, how much better is that than beer? Even probably not all that much better.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, but it switched to rum for vodka. I could drink vodka all the time.
But vodka, like again, that's like it's empty calories, but you don't have the mass amounts of sugar and other stuff that are in rum. So white rum is a little bit better. Like I'll drink Bacardi and stuff. Like that's why I started getting so obsessed with White Claws and seltzers in general, because I was like, I just need to stop drinking. I'm drinking 3 beers a night. Like that's so much. Like that's just so much. So it's like I'm just gonna switch to White Claws. And then from White Claws, I was like, there's probably an even easier or better way to do this. So I started drinking like bubbly waters and LaCroix, and I would just put I made this drink. It's super, super, super good. It's Bacardi and a little bit of whatever kind of Powerade you like. Usually I would use Powerade Zero, try and keep the sugar away. But anyway, it's just ice, Bacardi, a little bit of Powerade, and then you top it off with like just you can get like a strawberry flavor or whatever, or just a regular LaCroix water, bubbly water. Delicious. And like if you like seltzers, you got that little bit of flavor from the Powerade. And so it's basically the same as drinking a White Claw, but you're getting even less. Like White Claw still does have sugar. It has the 100 calories, stuff like that. So if you're just drinking straight up seltzer water, it's pretty good.
We're just to switch topics here for a second. We're watching me and my roommate are in the living room here. They have the ring ceremony going on for the Lakers right now, and Kyle Kuzma just came on, and my roommate just right to the TV.
Good.
If that was Juju, he would be doing a Luke, you froze for like 3 seconds there with your middle fingers up. You're just frozen. But if Juju, I don't want to see if Juju ever wins a Super Bowl ring, like what he does during his ceremony, because there's some sort of TikTok coming out of that.
Apparently the TikToks are going to be done. He and Mike Tomlin had a meeting today, which I'm sure Mike Tomlin just saying, stop fucking doing that, because you're an embarrassment to our entire team.
I mean, if you go out and ball, like, if your team loses,
right,
it's one thing. If you go out and play well, then sure, dance on the other team's logo. But like, if your team loses and you suck and you've been sucking, like maybe stop dancing on the logo.
Yeah, no kidding. That, and the Browns don't have a logo at the middle of their field, so maybe it's just like a strategy meeting for week 17 or something.
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna do, Juju? Like, I want to be in on this. Could I be in it too? Could have been that. I'm guessing it's the opposite, but never know.
You never know with Mike Tomlin. But
yeah,
I mean, we've talked about too. I think me and Trevor have talked about like how Juju does get a lot of hate. That it's like, fair or unfair. Like at the beginning of this season, I leaned more towards unfair. This season obviously has not fared well for him. No pun intended. But it's like Juju just gets a lot of extra hate because he is that online, that social media, like whatever. And he has a fan base outside of just football. And I think that irks football people.
I think so too. Like just seeing, a lot of the old school football people, and obviously that's a big percentage of the Steelers fan base, just the hard neck, like Rust Belt sort of people. They feel like it's football season, concentrate on football. You're not trying to be playing video games. You're not trying to be dancing and filming yourself and stuff like that. So yeah, like they've always been, Steelers fans have always hated him. Like even when he was playing well, they would rather have Antonio Brown, live streaming the police coming to his house than Juju fucking doing a dance and looking like an idiot.
Yeah. Well, and they can probably find some source of entertainment out of that. They're like, oh, there's AB with the cops out in front of his house again. Like, what's going on? Yeah. Versus like, oh, Juju's making another goddamn TikTok. Like, it's much different. But
that's funny that you brought that up. That like the Steelers fans, like it's usually like the oldest heads who are getting all mad or whatever. I'm always talking to these guys who are like big Ten basketball guys, and they're usually all like pretty old. All like Wisconsin's the best conference, Michigan State's the best team, and I was talking to them last year, and they're like, yeah, Big Ten sucks. And I was talking to them this year, like Big Ten's back, we're winning all the games this year. And I'm saying, and I just talked to my dad. He's like, yeah, Big Ten basketball is here. And I'm like, it only happens every 4 years because those freshmen now become seniors in 4 years, and that's when the Big Ten's good again.
Hey, whatever we got to do. We're controlling it this year. We're going to have a Final Four of just Big Ten. Can't win.
That's why, because I'm an ACC guy, so I'm always going at those guys because I just think ACC is so much more fun to watch, and Big 12. So it's really interesting to like watch how they like react now that I'm not like a huge Big 10 fan.
Yeah.
I just need the Lakers tonight. That's all I can think about. I got the Lakers BYU money line. I've had very bad 2 days in a row. I need this parlay very badly. So, anyway, with that, I think I got a lot of other stuff to do tonight. I know, Zach, you're probably busy. So we'll probably hop off. Had some good conversation, but it is almost 9 o'clock, so we should probably get running here. Any final thoughts before Christmas here from either one of you guys?
No, just happy holidays, guys. Be safe.
Agreed, and let's hope Pandemic P doesn't show up tonight. I need the actual Paul George because I have a lot of money on him.
All right, that's fine. Paul George can go off as long as the Lakers win. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I'll just change it here real quick. Everyone who's watching the Packer game on Sunday, look for me. I'll be in the stands. I'll be wearing the number 20 Kevin King jersey. So,
Kevin King, what the fuck?
That's also, was this also Trevor that was like ripping on Kevin King, and you were like, I'd like to agree with you, but check out the jersey I'm wearing in my picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Kevin King will sign another contract for way too much money and actually be good. Who knows?
I hope so.
Well, not even actually be good, but actually be able to play is what I should say.
Playmaker when he makes plays.
Yeah, he is one of the better cover guys and tacklers that we've had for a while. Tacklers. I mean, yeah. Well, especially early on in his career, he would get, guys would be 5 yards behind him like that. But I think he's gotten better, and he tackles. Nothing bugs me more than, especially when there's a bet on the line, or like you're playing against a guy in fantasy and he could be tackled with a 2-yard gain, but instead it turns into a 9-yard gain or an 11-yard gain. It's like these guys are getting bigger and stronger and more stable on their feet every single year. Like, you as the little cornerback, you can't just dive into him with your shoulder. That does not work. You have to tackle. And like Kevin King's like one of the only guys left that'll actually like wrap a dude up and tackle him. Like, I just hate watching it. Like, you'll have 3 DBs, one kind of hanging on a guy, another one dives at him, another one dives at him, and the guy's still moving. It's like, if even one of you just grabbed this guy and like stopped his momentum, then maybe the other 2 that are diving at him actually would have some effect. But like, you're all just diving, which does nothing. It bugs the shit out of me. And the only thing that I've ever heard, the reason that people do that now is to protect their own shoulders and for their own health. But it's like, come on, dude, like, just tackle him. Use your arms, tackle him.
It's kind of hard when Derrick Henry picks guys up with one arm and just launches them out of.
Well, I mean, I'm not even talking against Derrick Henry. I'm talking about a normal guy. Like, Derrick Henry, you pretty much just got to pray that he doesn't smoke you no matter how you go after him. But it's like, just normal dudes will just gain an extra 5 yards per reception. Or per carry, because and then like the DBs get up too. Like, that's always the best. They get up and they're just like so mad, or they're just like, how did he get past me? It's like, because you barely touched him with one of your shoulders and he's running full steam past you. That's how. Like, It's not hard to figure out. Like, put your arm out, put one arm out. You're going to be better off. Like, I remember I didn't play football for long. I think, Luke, did you play football growing up? You look like a football player. Yeah.
12 years of football, I think.
Yeah, so you guys are a lot, more football playing guys than me. But like, one of the main things I was always taught was like, you can't just arm tackle. Like, they're going to break an arm tackle. You're going to break one arm tackle. Like, you got to wrap them up. You got to get both arms around them. And it's like, one arm though is significantly better than what these guys are doing. The whole diving thing is just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And there's no chance either at the ball. Like, there's zero. If you wrap up a guy, you might have a chance to punch the ball out or rip the ball out or whatever. Like, maybe not super often, but there probably are those instances. Once you lower your head and dive, like, you're no good at all anymore. It's like when guys, young hockey players will often, in a 2-on-1, if you're the defenseman, like, they come back and then instead of like getting in good positioning and then, trying to cut off the pass with their stick or like pivoting over to the passer after the pass is made, they'll just dive and sprawl out. which is the worst thing you can do in all of hockey. Because A, you're probably going to run into your goalie. B, if the guy does pass the puck, now the original guy who passed it is wide open at the top of the crease for a pass back. It makes no sense at all. And then you have to get up, take your eyes off the play. It just doesn't make any sense. And guys do it all the time. And hockey coaches will freak out. It's like, do not. There's limited situations where like a dive is maybe the right move, but your standard 2-on-1, like you should never leave your feet. And guys do it all the time. And I equate that to like the no look dive by a DB. It just doesn't make any sense. So, anyways,
I agree. By the way, Jake, after playing NHL for a little bit now, I think it would be a lot more fun if they got rid of the tripping penalty. I think that's what hockey needs to really elevate like the level of entertainment involved with it.
You think you should just be able to just whack away a guy's feet? Hack at him?
Yeah.
I mean, you can turn it off. You can turn every individual rule off if you want. But
be too easy then. I'm trying to chop them down. Once it gets to the third period, they can barely fucking stand. And that's what I make my move.
Out there breaking ankles and just putting bruises all the way up the back of their shins. When I was younger, I had a goalie coach that used to tell me that if my defenseman, so funny thinking back to it now, it's just so dumb. Instead of just being like, hey, don't stand in front of me. Thanks. He was like, if your defenseman's in front of you and he won't move, just hack him in the back of the shins. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I tried it once. My friend Dan got so pissed at me. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, well, blah, blah. He's like, just tell me screen. Like, I'll just move. I was like, yeah, okay, fair. So I never hacked my own player after that. I was just like, yeah, I guess I don't need to be hacking my own guys in the back of the shins. But it's definitely, it's very touchy too on NHL. Like sometimes I feel like I have perfect positioning and I go to like pick up, use X to pick up a stick, or I try and poke check or whatever. And dude just goes sprawling. And I'm like, there's no way. I wasn't even close to his feet. Like
they're flopping in that game. It's bullshit. Everybody flops when they're against me. I don't care. Bad. Like I barely hit your waist. Like I just swing at them. I'm like a baseball like batter out there. I'm just swinging. Like if they whatever.
I'm excited to play NHL against you now that you kind of know what you're doing with it. So.
You'll always be in a power play, so just practice those.
That's fine. Good with me. That's good with me. That's the worst though. Is like you get a power play, say you lose the offensive zone face-off, and then you send two guys after the guy with the puck. You try and poke check it away from him, and boom, tripping penalty, and all of a sudden it's 4-on-4 for the next minute and 50 seconds, and it's like, well, that was a waste.
Yep,
but happens all the time. So anyway, with that, maybe we'll add that to we're going to do a Flurry golf tournament and a couple other things this summer. Maybe we'll have to add a Chell tournament as well.
Luke, what gaming system do you have?
PS4.
Good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Us too. We should do something.
Yeah. I'd absolutely smoke you guys in MLB The Show, but other than that, nothing else.
I would put $1,000 on it that you would smoke me in MLB The Show.
Mm-hmm.
So
I haven't watched a baseball game since 2009. Very proud of that fact.
Yeah, I was just about to say Zach is proud of that fact. He brings it up all the time. He's like, I don't watch baseball.
Sure. Yep, they should get rid of it. Like I don't know what it's on. I don't know when the season's done. Now that I do. Now I know October's baseball is a thing. I didn't know that until I started sports writing. Had no clue.
October baseball.
I'll get you
not what?
I'll get you on baseball.
I promise you won't. I can't take it.
I'll work my way to it.
Good
luck.
The
Brewers are fun to watch. I do love watching the Brewers, but like as a fan, same thing I was saying with Jared Carabas earlier. It's like I'm not invested in the MLB. I just don't have the time to sit around and care about anybody besides the Brewers.
I'll get both of you guys in on it. It's fun once you know a bunch about it. It's good time.
I love pitch. I grew up as a pitcher, so I love pitching battles. Like I love watching pitchers and the pitcher catcher interactions. Like I love that part of baseball. Everything else is like, take it or leave it. Like home runs are cool, but like they happen so often now that they're literally like, they're not even a dime a dozen. They're like a nickel a dozen. Like a home run is nothing anymore unless some dude literally jacks one out of the park. Like they're just nothing to watch. So I'm a pitcher. I'm a pitcher's guy. Same thing when I ump. Like I've umped Little League baseball. I'm like, I'm a pitcher's ump.
Mm-hmm, me too.
like you're this far off the corner and the kid hasn't swung at your first 3 pitches. I'm like, it's a strike. Let's bring this kid up. Like it just doesn't matter to me. Like I want the young pitchers to feel good. So plus the coaches like that anyway. They want the young kids swinging the bat. They don't want the game to last forever. Like, generous strike zone. That's what it's all about. So.
I'll say too. Tune into our ranking show tomorrow. I have some very spicy takes about the Atlanta Falcons that I'm been waiting to get off my chest here. So those will be coming a lot tomorrow.
2 shows tomorrow. It'll be the last ranking show and the last start sit show. Like you guys aren't doing a rankings for week 17, are you? Or will you?
We might do a show. We won't do rankings.
Okay. So yeah, probably the last ranking show for sure. The last start sit show. Those are both happening tomorrow night. Start sit will start whenever Zach and Luke and Trevor get off the air. And it'll be me, Coach, and Henry back at it for one more time. Coach's article was like spot on last week. Pretty much everything in his article went exactly as he said. And it included Jalen Hurts as a start. For those of you who don't know, Henry and I have a side bet. Jalen Hurts, week 15 and 16 total points versus Cam Newton, week 16 and 17 total points. I'm working with like a 20-something point cushion going into this weekend because Jalen Hurts had almost 40. So I'm feeling great. Still don't know what Henry's going to have to do to pay up that bet, but tune in tomorrow. I believe we're going to settle it tomorrow. So, yeah, those 2 things will be coming at you right here. Same Twitter, same YouTube. Other than that, this has been the Evening Flurry. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great Christmas, a happy holiday, however you celebrate. I hope you're safe. Hope you have a good time with your family, or if you're not able to be with them, I hope you can make the most of your Zoom call or whatever you're doing. So, yeah, from all of us at Flurry Sports, have a great night. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
Later.